Elias Ward had never seen anything like the Thalri royal city. Floating spires shone under two suns, rivers of light flowed between glass bridges, and the air hummed with a faint music that seemed alive. He was no longer a soldier here. No uniform. No orders, just a strange place that called him both hero and mystery. Weeks had passed since the crash. His wounds healed under alien medicine, but his heart still felt heavy. He missed Earth, his people, the sound of rain on steel rooftops. Yet every time he thought about leaving, he remembered her, the queen who had once been a frightened girl in a burning ship. Now she ruled an empire. Queen Lurea of the Thalri held herself with calm power. Every gesture was precise, every word carried weight. But when she spoke to Elias, her voice softened, almost human. One morning she called him to the Hall of Radiance, a vast chamber surrounded by starlight and gold. As he entered, alien nobles whispered. Some bowed to her. Others stared at him with visible disgust. A human among royalty was unheard of. Lurea sat on the high throne, her golden eyes warm but steady. "Approach," she said. Elias bowed awkwardly.
"Your Majesty," she smiled faintly.
"You still call me that, even after saving my life twice. It feels respectful," he said. "And safe," a soft laugh escaped her. "You always hide behind modesty." Then her tone turned serious. "You are to stand before the council today. Some of my people believe your presence here dishonors the royal line. They do not understand what you have done." Elias sighed. "Let me guess, they don't like that a human has their queen's attention." "Attention?" she repeated with an unreadable smile. "Is that what you think this is?" Elias hesitated. "I don't know what it is anymore." Lurea stepped down from her throne and walked toward him. "Then perhaps today you will learn." The council chamber was full of tension. Dozens of alien lords and generals stood in a circle, their jeweled armor glowing faintly. The air crackled with unspoken anger. "This human," one of them said sharply, "trespassed on Thalri soil. He interfered in royal affairs. Now he walks freely within our palace as if he were one of us." Elias stood silently. He had faced fire before, but never judgment like this. Lurea raised her hand, silencing the voices. "He shed his blood for the crown," she said firmly. "Twice. Would you have preferred we let the royal line die?" Another noble hissed. "He is an outsider. His blood is impure. What if he used us to gain power?" Elias finally spoke. "With respect, if I wanted power, I would have let you all burn. I didn't save you to gain anything." The chamber grew quiet. Lurea's golden gaze lingered on him. "You see? Even now he speaks truth without fear." She turned back to the council. "The bond of blood is sacred. He is not an outsider. He is a protector of the crown." Gasps filled the room. That title had not been given in 100 years. Elias frowned. "Protector?" She nodded. "It is the highest honor in our empire. And it is yours." The council members bowed reluctantly. The decision was made. When the meeting ended, Elias followed her into a quiet corridor filled with sunlight. "You didn't have to do that," he said softly. "Your people already hate me enough." "I did what was right," she replied. "A queen must honor those who save her life." He looked at her. "And if your people turn against you for it?" Her voice dropped. "Then they will learn what kind of queen I am." For the first time, Elias saw the loneliness behind her crown, the weight of rule she carried. Days turned into weeks. Elias was given quarters inside the palace, though he preferred the training grounds. The alien soldiers challenged him constantly, testing his strength and spirit. He never won easily, but he never backed down. Slowly, their mockery turned to respect. Even the captain of the Royal Guard, a fierce Thalri named Terran, began to trust him. "You fight with heart, human," Terran said one day after sparring. "No fear, no hesitation." Elias grinned, wiping sweat from his face. "Guess that's the only thing I'm good at." That night, the queen invited him to the celestial garden, where luminous flowers bloomed under starlight. The air was calm, scented with wind and water. She waited by a fountain, wearing no crown this time, just a soft silver robe. "You look different tonight," Elias said. She smiled gently. "So do you. You seem lighter." "I'm just getting used to breathing without gunfire," he said. Lurea looked at him for a long moment. "You miss your world, don't you?" "Every day," he admitted. "But I don't regret what I did." She stepped closer. "Even if it cost you everything?" He nodded. "Some things are worth it." For a moment, silence hung between them, filled only by the sound of the fountain. Then she spoke quietly. When my father died, I thought I had lost everything that mattered. But then I remembered the human who ran into fire to save us both. Elias's heart thumped. You don't owe me anything, Lurea. She shook her head. This isn't about debt. It's about truth. You have changed how I see your kind, how I see myself. She reached out, touching the scar on his arm, the one from the crash. This mark binds us. Whether you like it or not, you are part of my people now. Elias smiled faintly. And if I told you humans don't believe in destiny? Her golden eyes glimmered. Then perhaps destiny believes in you. The next morning, alarms blared through the palace. A rogue Thalri general, Varric, had staged a rebellion, claiming that the queen had been corrupted by human influence. His forces were marching toward the capital. Elias ran to the command room. Lurea stood surrounded by advisors, calm but resolute. They planned to storm the gates within hours, Terran reported. Elias stepped forward. Then let me help. I can lead your defenses. Lurea looked at him sharply. No, you've already bled enough for me. With respect, he said firmly. It's my choice. Their eyes met. Human determination against royal will. Finally, she sighed. Very well, but promise me one thing, and what's that? Come back alive. The queen does not call the dead her own. The battle was fierce. Varric's forces stormed the outer defenses, but the palace guard held strong. Elias fought beside Terran, moving through smoke and fire like a man possessed. His courage inspired the Thalri soldiers. They began to chant his name in their language, a word meaning heart of iron. When Varric finally breached the main gate, Elias faced him directly. The alien general was enormous, armored in gold, his voice full of hate. You, the human who poisons our queen's mind. Elias didn't flinch. She doesn't need me to be strong. She already is. The fight was brutal. Elias was smaller, weaker, but faster. He dodged plasma strikes, countered with his rifle and fists. In the end, he was bleeding, exhausted, but Varric lay defeated. When the smoke cleared, the soldiers stared in silence. Then they bowed, to both the queen and the human who defended her throne. Later, in the quiet of the throne room, Lurea approached Elias. His armor was scorched, his arm bandaged again. You never stop risking your life for me, she said softly. He smiled tiredly. It's becoming a bad habit. She looked at him for a long time, then said the words that silenced the room. From this day forward, Elias, Ward of Earth, is not merely protector of the crown, he is guardian of the queen's heart. The court gasped, but she didn't care. Elias blinked, unsure how to respond. That sounds very official. It is, she said, stepping closer. And very personal. He swallowed. You sure your people will accept that? They will, she said. Because I do. Her golden eyes met his, calm and bright. You taught me that courage is not about power or blood. It is about choice, and I choose to stand beside you. For the first time since the war began, Elias felt peace. Not the silence after battle, but the warmth of being understood. He bowed his head slightly. Then I'll keep choosing you too, Your Majesty. She smiled gently. Then stop calling me that. Lurea, he said, the name soft on his tongue. She nodded. Better. Years later, stories spread across the galaxy. They spoke of the human who shed his blood for an alien queen, the man who united two species once at war. Some called him legend, others called him fool. But to Queen Lurea he was simply hers, the human who taught an empire the meaning of honor. And to Elias Ward, she was not a ruler or a symbol. She was the woman whose life was worth bleeding for. The war between humans and the Thalri Empire had lasted 7 years. It started in deep space, then spread across moons and broken planets. Every soldier in the Terran Union knew the Thalri, an alien race with golden eyes, tall and graceful, born with strength and beauty that made humans look fragile. Corporal Elias Ward never thought he'd survive this long. He was a field medic, not a hero. But when the dropship carrying the Thalri royal family crashed during peace talks, everything changed. The humans were ordered to pull back. The area was under alien control. But Elias had heard the distress signal, the voice of a female crying for help. He couldn't ignore it. Through the smoke and falling ash, Elias moved. His armor was cracked, his leg burned from plasma fire, but he kept going. He followed the signal until he reached the wreckage of a golden shuttle. The royal crest of Thalri shimmered faintly on its side. Inside it was chaos. Guards lay dead. The hull was torn open. Only one life form still moved, a tall, elegant alien woman covered in blood and dust. Her long silver hair clung to her face as she struggled to pull another body from the flames. Elias ran to her. "Don't move. I'll help you." She turned, startled, golden eyes narrowing. "A human?" Her voice trembled with both fear and anger. "You shouldn't be here." Elias ignored that. He pushed past the wreckage, grabbed the limp arm of the second alien, an older male, clearly important. "He's still breathing," Elias said, already opening his medkit. The woman hesitated. "That's the king," she whispered. "My father." Her armor bore royal insignia. Elias realized who she was. Princess Lurea of the Thalri Empire. He had seen her on holoscreens, the symbol of alien strength and grace. And now she was bleeding, coughing, terrified. "I'm not leaving anyone to die," Elias said simply. He worked fast, sealing wounds with gel foam, forcing oxygen through a rebreather. The king's pulse was weak but steady. Elias could feel the heat of the flames closing in. "Grab his shoulders," Elias ordered. "We're getting out of here." She blinked in disbelief. "You would save us? Even after what my people did to yours?" Elias just gave a half smile. "I don't care who started what. I save lives. That's my job." The princess said nothing, but the look in her eyes softened. Together they pulled the king out of the burning shuttle and stumbled into the storm outside. The sky boiled red as plasma bombs fell in the distance. Elias's comm crackled. "All human units retreat. Repeat, retreat." But he shut it off. He wasn't leaving them. They found shelter in the ruins of an old bunker. Elias treated their wounds while the princess sat beside her unconscious father, silent but watching him. Hours passed. The fire outside dimmed. The only sound was Elias's slow breathing and the hum of alien medical equipment he managed to reactivate. Finally she spoke. "Why?" He looked up. "Why what?" "Why would a human bleed for the royal line of the enemy?" She asked quietly. "You risked your life for us." Elias thought for a long moment. "Because someone has to stop the hate somewhere," he said. "If I start seeing you as just another enemy, then all this blood means nothing." She stared at him for a long time. Her golden eyes glowed faintly in the dark. "You're kind. I thought you were all savages. But you—" She paused, searching for words. "You remind me what it means to be noble." Elias chuckled softly. "I'm just stubborn, that's all." He didn't notice that his own arm was bleeding from a deep cut until she stood and pressed her palm to it. Her skin shimmered faintly. "Your blood," she murmured. "You're losing too much." Elias shrugged. "I've had worse," but she didn't listen. Instead, she tore a strip from her royal cloak and wrapped it around his wound herself. Her touch was warm, careful, almost gentle. When she finished, she whispered something in her native tongue, a short blessing he couldn't understand. "What was that?" Elias asked. "A vow," she said softly. "Among the Thalri, when someone sheds blood to protect the royal line, his life is bound to the crown. It is our oldest law." Elias blinked, confused. "Bound? What does that mean?" "It means—" She looked at him seriously. "You belong to the queen now." He laughed, thinking she was joking. But she didn't smile. "I am the next in line," she said. "By saving me and my father, you have tied your fate to mine. When I ascend the throne, I will have the right to claim you as one of my own." Elias felt heat rise to his face. "That's not how humans do things." She tilted her head. "Then perhaps humans should learn from us." Before he could answer, the ground trembled. Enemy scouts were approaching. Lurea's sensors detected movement. Dozens of heat signatures. "They're coming for us," she said. Elias stood up immediately, grabbing his rifle. "Then we'll hold them off." "You can't," she said quickly. "They're Thalri soldiers, my own kind. They'll kill you on sight." He smirked. "Let them try." Lurea stared at him, frustration and awe in her expression. "You are a strange creature, human." They worked together to move the king deeper into the bunker. Elias set traps using his limited ammunition and some alien tech. When the enemy patrol arrived, the fight was short but brutal. Elias didn't aim to kill, only to distract and protect. A plasma bolt grazed his shoulder, but he didn't fall. He stood between the princess and the soldiers, deflecting shots, refusing to retreat. When the last of them fled, smoke filled the air again. Elias dropped to one knee, gasping. Lurea caught him before he fell. "You fool," she whispered, pressing her forehead against his. "You would die for me again?" He managed a faint smile. "Guess I'm already yours then, huh?" She looked at him, really looked, and her eyes softened like sunlight through gold. You don't understand, Elias Ward. Among my people, that is not something said lightly. You have spilled your blood for the crown twice now. By ancient right, the queen calls you hers. He blinked weakly. Then maybe tell her to go easy on me. But Larea didn't laugh this time. She touched his face, voice trembling with something between anger and gratitude. You are a human. You were supposed to be our enemy. Yet you fought beside me as if we shared one heart. Elias tried to answer, but darkness crept over his vision. The last thing he heard was her whisper, "Rest, brave human. When I ascend the throne, I will not forget the man who bled for me." When Elias woke again, he was in a soft bed, clean sheets, glowing walls, and air that smelled like flowers. He blinked, disoriented. A Thalari nurse bowed and said, "You are safe. Her Majesty commands your recovery." He frowned. Her Majesty? Before he could ask more, the doors opened, and Queen Larea entered, dressed in royal white, a golden crown resting on her silver hair. Elias froze. The same woman he saved now stood as ruler of an empire. She approached him slowly, smiling faintly. "You wake at last, Elias Ward of Earth." He tried to stand, but she raised a hand. "Rest, you have given enough. I thought I was a prisoner," he said quietly. "You are not a prisoner," she replied. "You are under my protection. You shed your blood for the royal line twice. The Queen of Thalari does not forget her debts." Elias swallowed. "And what happens to me now?" Her eyes glowed softly, full of warmth and quiet command. "You live," she said. "But you do not live as a soldier anymore. From this day forward, you live as mine." He stared, unsure whether to be honored or terrified. Outside the palace windows, the war had stopped. Peace talks had begun again, this time led by Queen Larea herself. And somewhere deep inside the royal city, the human who bled for her wondered what fate awaited him now that the most powerful woman in the galaxy had claimed his life as her own. End of Part 1. Would you like me to continue with Part 2, 1800 2000 words, next, where the story explores his life under her rule, their growing bond, and how he earns respect among her people? You said,